Good morning, guys. My name is Jörgen Larsson, and today I brought my friend Dejan Milosevic for a day's drop shotting for perch. We've had a very cold night with frost, several degrees below zero, so we're expecting the perch to be... Yeah, I've got a fish. We're expecting the fishing to be quite slow and difficult, so that's why we choose and drop shot as the method. And it seems like we've gone for the right technique. Very gentle take, but at least a fish to start the morning. Not a big guy, but a little beautiful perch on the 7.5 centimeter shad teeth. Just nose hooked. Very simple way of fishing. A bit of tangle here. This is the way I hook the lure. And this is the result. One of the strengths with drop shot is that you separate the lure from the sinker, from the weight. So the lure is really free to get very natural movements because of the separation between the sinker and the lure. And it also means that the fish, it's very easy for the fish to inhale, to take the lure, because there is no weight. It's more or less weightless. The sinker, the weight is supposed to work as an anchor. So you can tighten the line between the rig and the rod, and then by moving the rod slowly, you give the lure movements. I like to fish with I tighten the line, and then I give a little bit slack when I'm working with the lure. Then you get some really free, delicate movements. You can also move the lure or the sinker by moving the rod towards you. Then you get the slack, shaking a little bit, giving the lure a little bit of slack, shaking again. There's so many techniques. There is really nothing wrong or right. You just have to find the right technique of the day, or the right technique for a specific lure. We have chosen a little bit different tactics, me and Dejan. I've gone for quite small lures, and he's gone for bigger size lures, to maybe 5-inch size.
Yeah.
And we are not sure what's gonna work best, but if we're fishing different, we will soon see what is the right method and tactic for the day. That's good when you're two guys fishing. You can help each other to find the right lures, the right colors, the right technique of the day by fishing different. The good thing with drop shot fishing is really that there is no right or wrongs. You choose how you want to fish your lure, and then it's up to the fish to tell you if it's right or wrong. You can fish it really slow and very static if the fishing is difficult, or you can fish it a little bit faster and more active if the fish is feeding. So that's the charm with drop shot fishing. You can control the way you're fishing the lure completely by yourself. It's up to you to give the lure movement. Yes. Better? A little bit better. Nice. Nice. Seems like a little bit better one, huh?
Yeah, not the smallest one.
A decent fish, at least. You're fishing with a MiniTeez, huh?
Yeah.
Ah, it's okay fish. No monster, but a nice one. Yeah. Very healthy looking fish.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful fish.
Small but nice, beautiful. Small, beautiful perch. Lovely colors.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
A little bit better fish. No monster, but at least we go in the right direction. It's a decent fish. Decent fish. Taking the lure a little bit better. The hook is a little bit further in. Oh, beautiful. Oh, they're so nice, these perch. Just love them. Bye bye.
No.
Maybe they're getting a little bit more active now. That was a little bit better bite, and you could see the fish was hooked a little bit further into the mouth. I hear a lot of strange noise behind me. What's going on?
They are taking so carefully. just picking the lure. Had one bites 2 times, but I couldn't hook them.
No, normally when you're fishing drop shot, that's fun also because they will follow for quite a long distance. You can have them there picking at the lure. They just keep following, and suddenly you can get a little bit better take. When I'm searching for fish, I just working the lead towards me, getting the slack, maybe pause, work the lure, getting the slack, getting the lure, the lead towards me again, taking in the slack, working the lure, pausing, getting the lead towards me, getting the slack. You can do this in different speeds to see what they like and what they want. Sometimes they want it really, really slow, and then you can more or less fish the lure static and in a small spot. But when you're searching for fish, you need to cover some water. The thing with drop shot is it's a very slow method. If you can do maybe 3 or 4 casts with a shad, at the same time you do 1 cast with drop shot. So it's not a very good method to search the fish. You really need to know the spots where you expect or even know the fish are gathered, because it takes a lot of time to fish with this technique. But when you have found a fish, when you have found a small area of fish, it's normally very, very efficient method because they can't really resist it. You can really trigger them and teasing them by fishing the drop shot technique in a way you cannot present a normal shad with a lead head. The fishing have slowed down here, so we're gonna move further upstream to try a few spots. One deep hole where they like to park, and another area with a lot of trees and snags in the water where they also like to park. So we're gonna move, and we maybe also gonna try some fishing from the bank. We have a few spots up there where we can do some decent bank fishing, so we're gonna see if we can find some better fish.
This is a MiniTeez, 5-inch. It's one of my absolutely favorite for dropshot fishing. I have caught a lot of big perch on that, and I'm going to show you how I set this up. It's a stand-out hook, perfect for dropshot fishing, especially when you're fishing with a little bit bigger lures. is the way I rig it, just under the skin up, and if the perch is active, you normally can fish it just with this hook, and they take the whole lure without problem. But many times the perch is very tricky, and then I am using a stinger hook that I put on the stand out hook and a stinger. I put the stinger right back with the end of the tail, and then you have much bigger chance to hook the smaller fish, and the fish, when they are tricky, just take it very gently back here. So that is my setup for drop shot with the MiniTeez 5-inch. Baby perch.
One of the good thing with a drop shot rig is that you can always adjust the distance between the sinker and the lure. On a drop shot sinker you have a line clip, so it's so easy to free the lead and then adjust the distance and pull it tight again. This piece of line is doing no damage, so just leave it. Normally I would say I would start with a distance, say 25-30 centimeters between the sinker and the lure, and if the fish is active they normally want to have the lure higher up in the water. Then I adjust so I get a greater distance between the sinker and the lure. If they are very picky and slow, I normally fish closer to the bottom, maybe just 15-20 centimeters. That's one good thing with the sinker. You can adjust the distance between the sinker and the lure so easily thanks to the clip. I always go for the lightest sinker I can get away with. The heavier you have, the less feeling you get when you're fishing. So I always try to get away from the heaviest sinkers. Can I get away with a 5, 7, 10 gram sinker? That's fine. But when you start getting to 15, 20, 25 grams, then you lose a lot of the feeling in your fishing. So I always try to get away with as light sinker as possible. The stick-shaped drop shot sinker slides quite easily through rocks and snags on the bottom. So if it's a bad place I'm fishing, I prefer this stick-shaped sinker. If it's a soft bottom, I would go for a tear-shaped sinker. Westin has several really good drop shot lures that you can use in different situations. You have lures with a paddle tail, but you also have lures with like a mermaid tail or a split tail that you have to give movement in the water. Sometimes they prefer a lure with a lot of action, a paddle tail, and sometimes they prefer a lure with less action, a V-tail or a fork tail like this. If we look at the lures we have to choose from, the Westin range, we have the MiniTeez in 3 sizes, 13, 9 and 5 centimeter. So you can really choose if you want to have a big lure or a small lure. You have 3 options. The MiniTeez is fantastic, not only great for perch but also for sander. Has a built-in air chamber inside, so it becomes more or less suspending and weightless in the water. We have the MiniTeez, fantastic little lure, 9 centimeters with a paddle tail, really good for drop shot. There is the small size of the HollowTeez, very soft and very easy for the fish when they strike, since it's it's got a hollow body, it will fold very easy and give a good hook set. There is Standy the stickleback, also works on drop shot, not only with a jig head. We have the small sizes of shad tees. The 7.5 centimeter is a fantastic drop shot lure. Hypo tees, another option. And the new BloodTeez, a fantastic drop shot lure, more like worm style, that you can play around with a lot. Really good for drop shot. With the smaller lures, I almost always go for nose hooking. Like you see here with the shad tees. Just hook the lure in the nose, then you get the most movement out of the lure. It's so free, there is no weight or anything that affects the movement of the lure. Just nose hook the lure like this. I would go for that in most cases. The only other way I fish is when using a big lure. If I, for example, use a 13 centimeter MiniTeez, then I would go for a hook with a longer shank, so I get the hook further back in the lure. But in most cases with these smaller lures, I would only go for nose hooking. The size of the lure can have a lot to say also. Most people, they prefer to fish very small lures but when they're drop shotting. But we have seen many times that a bigger lure like 10, 12, 13 centimeter really triggers the bigger fish to eat. So don't be afraid to try a bigger lure. Don't only use the small ones. If you're fishing for big perch or sander, try a good size lure, 10, 12, 13 centimeter. And if you like, you can even put a small stinger treble on the lure if you're not confident with the hooking. I like to be well prepared when I go fishing, and most of the time I try to make the drop shot rigs at home, and then I keep them in a rig wallet like this. Then I can make rigs with different types of hooks that fits different types of lure. So I have many different options here in my rig wallet depending on the lure I'm using and the situation. I also have small bags with different hooks and things like that, small things that's handy to keep in the rig wallet. Saves a lot of time on the water. One of the things I like most with the drop shot is that it's so simple. You don't need much equipment. You can fish from the bank, you can fish from a boat, you can fish in deep waters, you can fish in shallow waters just by choosing the right weight of the sinker. It's a very simple method that works in most waters. And I would say I prefer the method in the winter. Late autumn, winter, early spring, when the water is cold and the big fish is concentrated in small areas. But it's also a method you can have a lot of fun with during the summer and catching a lot of perch. I think you will catch bigger fish when the water is cold, but you can catch a lot of perch on drop shot when it's warm in the water also. So it's a simple and fun method, and most of the times it can be very efficient. Yeah, I put on a BloodTeez and
BloodTeez?
yeah, immediately, first cast.
Nice.
No monster, but decent perch. Decent one, I think. No, it's quite small. Smaller than I thought, actually. Very small. And the BloodTeez. Single BloodTeez. Little guy.
Yeah, fish on. This could be a little bit better.
What lure are you using, Dejan?
9 centimeter HollowTeez.
Yeah. Need a net?
I don't. Oh, it wasn't so big that I thought.
Right, an okay fish.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done. Well done, Dejan.
Yeah, it's a small one, but a beautiful fish, and it's perch. It's perch. And HollowTeez 9 centimeters. Perfect for dropshot fishing. Awesome bait. And a small one, a beauty one. Beautiful colors.
Nice colors, yeah.
Yeah.
He looks angry, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do that also. Small one again. I think they have a feeding period.
I hope so.
The fishing has been really slow for a while, but suddenly we get 3 in a row. Again on the BloodTeez, and again a small one. I'm gonna try to see if I can get bigger fish with bigger lures, so I'm gonna put on another BloodTeez to make the lure bigger. I go for a double BloodTeez. See what they say about that.
Double trouble.
Double trouble. Another one. Took a small piece of the chartreuse one to add some color. Make the lure a little bit bigger. See what the perch say about that. We've had a really slow day. We caught some fish this morning, and then it's been really slow during the day. Hardly any bites at all. Then we've been hoping and expecting a feeding period now in the evening. Now it seems that it's happening. So I hope we still have time for a bigger fish. As we expected this morning, after a cold night with frost, the fishing has been really difficult today. We've caught quite a few fish, but the average size has been really low, and that's typical when the fishing is not so good. You're only catching small fish, and even the small guys has been difficult to catch, but that's fishing, and sometimes you have to be happy with the fish you catch, no matter size, and enjoy the day. We've had nice weather, so we cannot complain.